All right, John McLelland, thank you so much for joining us today. How's everything going over there in Arizona?
A little bit hot, but it's another nice day in the desert.
What else is new over there? That's great. Well, John, let's get started. Why don't you start with telling us a little bit about yourself? Tell us your story, what attracted you to Nu Skin, etc.
You bet. I grew up, I guess, like anybody else, loving sports, good parents, hardworking. Probably something that I appreciated early is some people around me, including my parents, were always urging me to do more, to experiment, to give it my best, whether it was sports or some activity or whatever. I think that plays into my later life, willing to take chances and so on and so forth. But I grew up kind of lower middle class. Education was tough for me. I couldn't wait to get away from it. I went to one semester at the University of Utah, so I could say I went to college, went to University of Utah. But really, I knew then and there that a mentor or finding the right company or finding successful people to follow would be my future. I knew it instinctively. It had worked for me in sports, and I thought it could work in business. So I didn't go through the education in the traditional channels, but speaking professionally, I knew that there were great opportunities out there, and I knew that I could network to get them. Meaning I didn't have to go knock on doors and say, is this the right one? I just had to be around positive people who would say, John, this would be good for you, or I could say, this is what I'm looking for. That led me to my first job, which was gourmet foods, sales, led me to my second profession, which was orthopedic devices and being a distributor for the largest orthopedic device company in the world. A dream come true. And so in 1989, when I would sell that and retire, people were shocked. But I just felt like there was another mountain to climb. And I knew all the things I didn't like about that model. And I wanted freedom. I wanted international business. I wanted to build teams without restriction of numbers. I wanted to inspire and help people like I had been helped. That's what led me to Nu Skin.
That's great. Thank you, John. So we talk often that one of the first things people need to do is really define their why, understand why they're doing this business. As you know, we asked people to submit their questions for this interview, and Bill Till submitted a great question related to your why. He asked, what gets you up early and what keeps you up late?
Well, I think my brain works in a why and a why not. Sometimes my why not is just as strong. In other words, I may not feel like calling 3 or 4 people, but why not? Why not? What's to lose? My why is more of my goal, my objective, what I want to achieve. And that's always out there. I don't care financially how much you have or how big your organization is. We all dream. We should never stop dreaming until the day we die. That's my why. But my why not really is the key to me. And I'm constantly driving down the road saying, good music on there. Why not give so-and-so a call? See how they're doing. Maybe see if we can jump on a 3-way call. So I'll just kind of twist that around a little bit. My why burns forever and will. I want more. I want to do more. I want to accomplish more. I want to help more people. That's my why. But my why not is in those moments of maybe I could just watch TV. Maybe I could just kick back. Why not?
That's great. No, that's great feedback. And I'm sure it helps you stay productive and always moving forward as well. I really like that. We got another question related to the importance of your why. Pho wrote, what pieces of advice do you have for someone who maybe they've defined their why, but they're still just a little hesitant to get started?
Well, it's a little frightening, I think, in any business. And there is a tendency to think you have to know everything about something in order to be good at it. Not true. When they knew next to nothing. They just had a good feeling about it, but they couldn't explain the compensation plan. They didn't know how the global compensation plan worked. They didn't know all the ingredients in the product. They didn't know the science. But something burned and a light was bright, and that translates onto people. So don't ever hesitate. In fact, maybe we get too seasoned, too educated, know too much, and want to share too much and complicate the story. We need to go back to the first 90 days.
That's great. That's great. So I've heard that this business isn't always easy, that maybe one or two times you might have a tough experience in this business. Joanne asked a great question. She asked, what keeps you going when the going gets tough?
Well, Joanne, I'm not sure that it's ever easy. That's why they call it career or work or job or opportunity or whatever. Because like sports, I don't know, we just watched the Olympic trials, didn't we? Great opportunity for those people, something they dream of, but was it easy? No, of course it wasn't easy. And so trying to stay a little bit in line with the question, rephrase for me, Don, what?
So what keeps you going when things are difficult? How do you stay motivated? How do you keep moving forward?
There's this built-in security system in our business called upline. And these people have a vested interest. There's also leaders who are available who do calls. That little spark of inspiration, perhaps reading a good motivated book, perhaps once in a while giving yourself a day off and say, I'm not going to allow myself to work today. I find myself by the end of that day going, oh, this is miserable. I really do want to go back to what I love to do. But rejection's never easy, let's face it. And so whenever something happens that is, we'll call it negative or, it's a step back, let's just face it, that's part of any career. I know of no career that they don't sit in a room and evaluate and say, wow, what a tough day, what a tough week, what a tough year. But we don't give up, we just keep going.
That's great. There might be times where maybe you've built up a solid group or you built a solid line of individuals and they, for whatever reason, decide to quit. And it may feel like you're having to start over at times. What advice do you have for people that are, maybe they face some trials and they're looking to start moving forward again? How do they prepare their mindset to be successful?
That's a gut check, isn't it? I mean, for all of us. I remember one quick story. I helped the company open up in Hong Kong, but I was new. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was at the hotel, beautiful hotel, and they had a big room. And we had been told that we could fill that room with the work we had done. And so we were new. Nobody was sharing information with us on how to build. We put 800 people in that room, and then we didn't bring any agreements because we didn't think of them. The people all left and joined everybody else's group, and we got nothing. And I just remember how could I be so stupid? And then to your point, we have had people that decided to go a different direction for whatever reason. It hurts. It hurts for a minute. It hurts maybe for a little bit longer than a minute. But you know what? There's a lot more where they came from. And you just got to wish them well. Don't let it be baggage to you. Be the better person. Call them up and say, totally respect what you've done. If what you're going to do doesn't work out, you can come home because this is a place we think you ought to be. And then go replace them. There are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people waiting for this message.
That's great feedback. And Jimena submitted that question. I hope she finds value in that answer as well. That was great. Don Sweat submitted a great question as well in terms of mindset. He asked, what is the most challenging aspect of building your new business, and how do you address that?
And the most challenging aspect is lack of following through on a commitment on the other person's part. They say they will do it. Yes, I'll submit my LOI. I'll be executed by this. I'll be at this meeting. And then they don't do it. To me, that's always been difficult. And I think it goes back to what we just said a little bit earlier. So if I'm helping Don here, it's that I want to address it openly. I think I learned, Jeff Mack was a great example to me on just such a great communicator and a real frank communicator. Instead of beating around the bush, you'll pick up the phone and call the person and say, I was expecting you there tonight, or I know we talked about this. Looks like it's not going to happen. Tell me what's going on. Tell me how I can help you. When I know all the facts and I know what they're going through and I know things, I can help out a little bit more. So the mindset is not for me next. I don't like next. I don't like to say they're stuttering. I don't like next. I never know when people are going to really blossom. Our company is filled with people who stuttered and their team thought they were going to quit. And now they're some of the biggest money earners in here. So I don't believe in just saying next as a mindset, but I do believe in saying, let's have a real good conversation about what's going on so we both know where to go from here.
That's great. Great feedback. Thank you, John. Let's transition to talking about productivity, using your time well. There's so many things out there that it's very easy to get distracted. There's times where I'll go on my phone to check an email, and 10 minutes later, I realize I've been on Facebook the whole time. What tips do you have for people to help them focus their efforts on what's most important and avoid getting distracted?
Yeah, the words activity and productivity seem to be so close, but they're the enemy of each other. Confusing activity for productivity is absolutely the worst thing you can do. And so I used to play a little game mentally with myself and say, I only can place one call to one prospect today. That's it. I'm only allowing myself one. And many days I did one. You know how much more time, attention, focus, caring, preparation I put into that call? It was laser focused. Now, I gave myself a mulligan, right? It didn't work out, and I said, okay, you get 2 today, and you might get 3 today. The mindset in that is that it is not a numbers game. It's a people business. Totally a people business. You don't need numbers of 10,000 people to call on. You need to be able to give all you've got in that opportunity and that training and that interview and that conversation where that person, if they have any life blood left in them, you're going to spark it.
That's great. We often hear, how do you balance your time between going after those business builders, building your consumer base? Keith asked the great question. He said, what actions do you teach for building a large customer base, and how do you balance your time between, building that consumption base and finding people who really want to build a business and grow their teams of consumers and distributors as well?
It's an important question. I believe that it starts with your first words out of your mouth. If you're only talking money because you feel like this is a person that would be a good business builder, you don't know that for sure. It may be that they have a mindset of they need to know the product's good before they can take the next step. So having some balance in that preparation, never be embarrassed to talk about the science, the products, and your products, and how they set the foundation for customers, which is the legality side of this too, and it's the common sense side. If we had a company with no customers, we have no company. So let's make sure in all the presentations we do that we boldly proclaim that. Somebody goes out and gets a brand new, Nike or Under Armour or some of the favorite apparel that they have, and then they're going to go and have a conversation. They might take some time to talk about their apparel and everything, but they're going to get eventually down to what they really came there for. They get a little bit sidetracked. I like to, for sure, and I'm a little bit gender specific on this, I believe personally women would like to know more about the product and the science before they know about the business, and men would like to know more about the money and then the product, but both need to know about both.
Great feedback. So let's transition to talk about vision. So when you started with Nu Skin, you said you joined in 1989. Did you imagine that Nu Skin would grow the way it has? Is the first question. And a follow-up question, this is from Andrea. Her follow-up question is, what's your vision for the U.S. market? Where do you see the U.S. market growing from here?
First off, no. I had no idea it could be this big. I didn't even know what to compare it to. I knew it was growing, but I didn't know that there was any company that had ever reached $1 billion. When I started hearing that we were over $1 billion, on our way to $2 billion, on our way to $3 billion, holy cow. No, it was just a wonderful ride. So could have never dreamed it in my life. And I'm a big dreamer. I'm a huge goal setter. And I was the one saying, I've got to make $100,000 a month in my medical business just to feel like I fit in. And in this business, it was no exception. So, I'm a big dreamer. No, my wildest dreams, I couldn't think we could do that. And we're not done. The U.S. market, look at the attention, the focus, and the money the company's putting behind that. The good managing staff we have, the products they're developing have a real strong focus as a core to the United States, or at least North American market, as well as their international markets. So knowing that the company sees that, and we're a publicly traded company, and they're interested in profit, they wouldn't be putting that money in to the market with the good people they have, products and the projects and the support that there wasn't potential here. There's huge potential here. But perhaps our story got old. The company didn't get old. Perhaps we just got a little bit old on the story and the way we're telling it. We can freshen that up. Age Lock Youth, Age Lock Me, some of the new social media things. Look at this Facebook Live and things like that. That's what's going to liven this thing up and explode the market.
It's great. Very excited for what's coming. Now, one last question from Evelyn Mejia. She brings up the point that people say that in network marketing, to win, you got to get in early. You've got to be the first one in, and that only the people on top make all the money. What's your response to that? What's been your experience with Nu Skin and in that mindset?
Evelyn, I thought they were right. My first big meeting was at the Ritz-Carlton in Phoenix, Arizona. Nathan Ricks was doing the meeting with close to 900 people there. I walked in as a new person and said, I missed it. I missed the opportunity to be here on, quote, the ground floor. And then I went to a convention and I saw thousands of people. And I said, I know I missed it, because that was just kind of the way I was evaluating it. So people do say it and people think it. Was I wrong? It didn't matter when I came in, 1989, December of 89, there had already been hundreds of thousands of people that signed up. But by 18 months from there, I was one of the top 10% of money earners. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't when you got in, it's what you did when you got in. And look at the people that we see now. There's great examples. See On Win that got in late and brings a kind of a new culture that nobody had really thought of and explodes that market. It's just all about doing it and then making it happen, not some magical moment in time that no matter how good you are or bad you are, you're just going to take this float to the top with the company because they're going. It doesn't work that way.
Huh. That's great. Well, I've got one last question for you. You look at the future, you look at what's coming with Age Lock Me, you look at our introduction of Age Lock Youth, you see what's coming for Nu Skin. What are you most excited about? And what are you planning to do to leverage these opportunities?
First off, I don't think we ever really thank the company enough for the money they invest in science and the products that come. I would be embarrassed to sell some of the products that I see on the market on infomercials and with some companies. There's just nothing to it. There is substance here. There's real science. So for that, I'm great. The all of the good and none of the bad has never left me. I still use Body Bar. I still use some of those products I used in the early days. I love them. Body Gel, Liquid Body Bar. I mean, these are staples of another time, but they're timeless products. So I think we must have great appreciation for the company's willingness to spend that money. Now, having said that, what do we do with it after it's made available to us? And that's the key. I think we just find those things that resonate with us, and not necessarily that we have to love it. It's not all of the products. We just find people that also resonate and say, wow, this is something I can talk about. So the word networking, let's just use that instead of network marketing. Network marketing indicates money and building a team, but networking is a natural skill that we all have. We needed to know directions. We needed to know a new doctor. We network. So as we take networking to share our enthusiasm, which is what I will do about the new products, people around me will get excited. We just sold our home not too long ago. It's a home that we've loved, and the lady who was ready to buy it, I started talking about Age Lock Me and that Ruth Ann was getting one, my wife. Well, she's asked me now 3 or 4 times, when can she get her Age Lock Me? I knew enough to be dangerous, but I didn't have a product to show her. I didn't have a clinical study. I didn't have, skin to show her results. I was just enthusiastic enough that she now wants it. That's the key to our business. We, way too often, far too often, we think we don't have all these tools and everything put together, and we can't move until we do. Big mistake.
That's great. Well, John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking some time with us. And we look forward to what's coming. Great future ahead of us. So thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks for all you do. And thanks for everybody who's watched. Wish you the best.